Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson, and now we're going to do Lesson 7 from Chapter 1. So this is Chapter 1, Lesson 7, located on page 65 in your book. All right, here we go. Are we ready? Everyone's focused. A rate of change is a rate that describes how one quantity changes in relation to another. In a linear relationship, the rate of change between two quantities is the same. So when you graph it, if it makes a straight line, the rate of change is the same. That's called a constant rate of change. It says a linear relationship has a constant rate of change. So when you graph something, it makes a straight line, constant rate of change. So all of our proportional relationships have a constant rate of change. You got that? Okay, now we're going to go to page 66. We're going to use this table to figure out our constant rate of change. You can use a table to find a constant rate of change. Let's look at this example. The table shows the amount of money a booster club makes washing cars for a fundraiser. Cars, money. Use the information to find the constant rate of change. Okay, here we go. First, you're going to find the unit rate to determine the constant rate of change. So, 40 over 5 equals 8 over 1. That is your unit rate. Does everyone remember how to do unit rates now? Okay, so the number of dollars increases by $8 for every car washed. Okay, so one car is $8, 5 is 40. Now notice here, this went up by 5 each time, and this side increased by 40. And if you take it, 40 divided by 5 is 8 over 1. So it is a constant rate of change. Now let's do A and B, and I think it'll make a lot of sense to you on how to do these problems. Sorry about that, it's a little crooked. Fix that there. All right, so let's look at our table. It says the table shows the number of miles a plane traveled while in flight. Use the information to find the approximate constant rate of change in miles per minute. Okay, so on this, let's find the unit rate. 290 over 30 equals what over 1? And then we're going to check to see if they all will equal that. You can use a calculator. 290 divided by 30 equals 9.6 repeating. All right. So if you would round it, you would say it's 9.7 for 1. Use the information to find the approximate constant rate of change in miles per minute. So yes, we have miles per 1 minute. All right, now let's double check to see if we get the same thing with this one. If we have 580 divided by 60, do we get the same thing? 580 divided by 60? Yep, the same thing. You have to check each one to make sure it has a constant rate of change. If one of these is different, then it's not the constant rate of change. Let's continue. 870 divided by 90. Yep, 9.6 repeating. And 1,160 divided by 120. Yes. It has a constant rate of change, and it is 9.6 repeating miles in 1 minute. They are all the same, So it has a constant rate of change. Okay? The next one. The table shows the number of students that buses can transport. Use the table to find the constant rate of change in students per bus. So we want to put students on top, bus on bottom. Students over bus. So 144 divided by 2 will equal 72 over 1. 216 divided by 3, that's equals 72 over 1. 288 divided by 4, 72 over 1. 360 divided by 5, yes. It has a constant rate of change, and it's 72 students, 1 bus. So that's your constant rate of change will be 72 over 1. Are there any questions on what we have been doing on this? No. All right, let's go to page 67. On page 67, we're going to graph it. And the graphing, I think, really makes it so much easier when we have a graph. It says you can also use a graph to find a constant rate of change and to analyze points on the graph. Okay, so in this problem here, the graph represents the distance traveled while driving on a highway. This is time, this is distance. Find the constant rate of change. Remember, another way of thinking about the constant rate of change is unit rate. Okay? So, miles over hours. Okay? So here we have 0, 0. To find the constant rate of change, pick any 2 points on the line, such as 0, 0, and over 1 up 60. Okay? Then you have 60 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. So you have your y's, these are your y coordinates, subtracting each other, and these are your x coordinates subtracting each other. Now that's a little confusing, but it'll get, I think you'll understand it a little better. They do have it color coded for you. So then they did 2 is 120, 3 would be 180. Now, over here it says the ordered pair 2 over 120 represents traveling 120 miles in 2 hours when you look at the graph. This is still probably a little confusing, but it's going to get clearer in just a moment. Now let's go to problem number 3. Explain what the points 0, 0 and 1 over 60 represent. The point 0, 0 represents traveling 0 miles in 0 hours. Does that make sense? This says we're not going any miles and we're not doing any time. The point 160 represents traveling 60 miles in 1 hour. 1 hour, 60 miles. You just check your labels. All right. Notice that this is the constant rate of change. 60 over 1 is your constant rate of change. It's over 1. Okay, now let's look at letter C. Use the graph to find the constant rate of change in miles per hour while driving. Well, kids, you look for the 1. Which one is the 1? Miles per hour, right there it is. It's 130, but your constant rate of change is miles per hour, so it's going to be 30 over 1. So the constant rate of change is 30 miles per 1 hour. Okay? Now, it says, explain what the points 0, 0 means. 0, 0 means 0 hours and 0 miles. Now, the first one tells about this way. The second one tells you about the up and down in your ordered pair. 0 hours, 0 miles. 1,30 says in 1 hour you travel 30 miles. Any questions? Okay. Sometimes this is confusing whenever you're thinking about setting up your unit rate, because it is sort of, it's written backwards as far as you want to say 30, 1, but the time went horizontal and the distance was graphed vertically. Okay, let's turn to page 68. Example 4. In example 4, it says the table and graph below show the hourly charge and to rent a bicycle at 2 different stores. Which store charges more per bicycle? So you're going to find the unit rate. Okay, so 24 over 2, your unit rate is 12. 36 over 3, the unit rate is 12. 48 over 4, it's 12. So the cost at Pedals Rental increases by $12 every hour. The cost at Supercycles, which is on this chart, increases by $8 every hour. So 1 hour is 8, and then if you go to 2 hours, it's 16. So which one? So Pedals Rentals charges more per hour to rent a bicycle. It's $12 at Pedals and $8 at Supercycles. So you're going to be reading charts and graphs, and then you have to interpret them. That's what this lesson is about. So what do I want you to do? I would like for you to do the guided practice 1 and 2, and then on page 69 do 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4. You can easily get 1 and 2 finished on 68, and 69, they really are pretty easy problems. So do as many problems as you can. Definitely have to do the house problems once you're done with 1 and 2. Okay? All right, don't get up. You still have about 3 minutes. Get your work done, then you can go.